Hey everybody, Michael here from Replica Airguns, and today we're looking at the Sig Sauer P229. It's a CO2 blowback, .177 caliber pellet pistol, and this is the tabletop review. So if you're interested in shooting, velocity, accuracy, all that kind of stuff, then that video will be following down the road. The good news is I made a video way back on the P226, which is very similar. It's this one here. I'm going to use it to compare the two quickly just to give you some ideas of what's different, what's the same. But that field test video is up. It goes back a little bit of a ways, maybe 4 or 5, 6 years. I'm not even sure when that first came out. And these guns will perform very similarly. They have a very similar mechanical functionality. They're built pretty much the same. They have a lot of the same componentry. Even the barrels are actually pretty close in length when you look at the inner barrels versus the outer barrels. There's not that big of a difference, so velocity shouldn't be impacted too much. So check that one out if you just don't want to wait for the P229 video coming up in a bit. Let's get into specifications and details. It's a mostly metal build. Weighs about 2.2 pounds or 1 kilogram. It shoots .177 caliber pellets. Also supports steel BBs, but I'd recommend shooting lead pellets. That'll save the rifled barrel a little bit. It does have a 16-round magazine with twin 8-round magazines or rotary mags on either end. You'll have to flip it to get the whole capacity of that magazine out. It shoots in semi-auto with a blowback operation, and it has a single and double action trigger. It uses 12-gram CO2 cartridges, and again, it has that rifled inner barrel. You're going to find white dot sights front and back with a manual safety that functions as a decocker as well. And it has a claimed 380 FPS, which would probably be lighter weight ammo. I'm not sure exactly what they were using for that, but when I do my actual field test shooting video, we'll find out for sure. Now, temperature and shooting cadence will change the velocities for sure. It is fully licensed by SIG, made in Japan, and you're going to get about 50 to 60 shots depending on the temperature and how quickly you shoot it, so keep that in mind. It's going to use a bit of CO2. It's not going to be your high capacity shooter. Now the P229, which we're reviewing today, it does add that SIG AIR optics plate for the reflex sight ready slide. And their muzzle thread on this one is actually an M14x1, so that's counterclockwise versus the P226, which I've got on the table here as well, which uses the M12x1, which is clockwise. So a little bit different, not sure why they switched it up. And it's going to be a pretty accurate copy of the real steel Sig Sauer P229 in terms of weight, size, functionality. Obviously, it shoots pellets over powder burning ammunition. But of course, we're an airgun channel, aren't we? All right, here's your box. Let's take a look at this. So, nicely packaged, nicely designed. Not too much going on in the front. Let's flip that around. You'll see here you've got your CO2, gas type, 16-round magazine, blowback slide. Action is semi-auto. Caliber, .177 caliber. 3.9-inch barrel, 7.7-inch overall length. Weight is 2.2 pounds and 300 FPS. Also on the side here, functional grip safety, magazine release button, and what is this? Patented CO2 cartridge system, which I'll show you a little bit as we go along here. In the box, you get this little guy here, which replaces the rear sight if you're going to put on the red dot sight, so that just replaces it. You get to the screws from under the slide, pull the slide back, and you can get access to those screws. And then, of course, you have this little gun safety, airgun safety guide, along with a UPC code or scan code here for complete instructions online. Good idea, because things change. Sometimes they forget to add things, so it's good to have that. At this point, let's just compare the two real quickly. Now you'll see here they're about, well, they're different in size. That's really the biggest difference. Is this is the compact, the 229 is the compact, the 226 is the full size. Other than that, they have slightly different barrel tips, right? This one doesn't have the plate on the top here. Okay, you can see that there. There's no plate for it. You probably take the sight off too, similarly. But all the rest of the functionality is going to be the same between the two. They're going to have pick rails. They're going to be all metal top and bottoms. They're going to have a functioning decocker, full metal hammer, double action, single action, full metal trigger. Same magazine release, same basic grips. The same CO2 loading systems on both. You see here how it pushes it up. I'll show you on the 229 as well. But other than that, they're very similar, okay? So not a huge amount of difference, but there's enough there, especially with that plate. Might come in handy for someone who wants to put a red dot on there, because these sights are non-adjustable. They both have white dot sights. Let's move this out of the way. Let's take a quick look at the gun we're actually reviewing today. So here we go. We've got this. Trying to get the lighting just right here. Sometimes it's difficult. Okay, there, that looks good. So you have this decocker, okay, which is nice. You can decock it. It's also a double action and single action. So once you put that up there, you got single and double action. Okay, you've got that middle trigger. You've got this takedown lever, which isn't really functioning. There's your decocker. It does work. Your slide catch release doesn't work because there's no slide locking back on here. There's no follower to make it lock back. Okay, you do have all the SIG writing on the pistol grips. You've got 226 right in the slide here. It's right stamped in, right? You've got that nice barrel opening, which, by the way, that's another difference I didn't point out. On the 226, the barrel opening is more like a pellet, and on the 229, it looks a lot more like the real steel 9mm. So I like that. That's a good feature. They both have the white dot sights front and back. Okay. None of them have the ejection port cut out. It's just sort of stamped into there with basically the extractor stamped in. It's not a working extractor, obviously. You do have some Sig Sauer, again, right in the metal. It's not just printed on. That's the only thing printed on, the serial number. Everything else is stamped right in. Made in Japan. Again, more SIG licensing. Let's take a look at this. Okay, it's all silver inside of here, but that's how this CO2 loads in. It pushes it up. It's their system that they use. Just this is the only real plastic on this gun, is this plastic rotary magazine. 8 rounds in the front and the back. You can put BBs or pellets in there. Okay, it would be nice if it was metal, but it doesn't need to be. Sometimes you accidentally eject these, they just kind of fly out. And so if it was metal, you might break it, because plastic, lightweight plastic, when it falls on the ground doesn't usually get damaged, because it's so light, it doesn't have a lot of mass to break itself, right? So again, you've got your safety and your decocker all built in there, all together in one. Okay, let's, I'm going to change the battery because my battery's going to die any second here. So we're going to flip over to the new battery. All right, got a new battery in here. We're all ready to go. It's pretty full. Should get through the rest of this video. All right, let's talk pros and cons. Now, it's a really solid feeling gun with a mostly metal construction and realistic weight. I do like the more compact size of the P229 over the P226. I don't know, it's just nice, a little bit lighter, a little bit shorter. Plus you get a few new features on this one, which is nice. Now, it's designed by SIG, so it's a very faithful replica with controls and ergonomics as the real steel version. And it has fairly snappy blowback operation. Again, I'm kind of basing it on what I remember when I did the review for the P226. And that manual safety lever doubles as a decocker. So same general functionality as the real steel firearm. It does have those white dot sights front and back, along with an accessory rail for a tack light or laser. You do have that patent cam lever toolless CO2 loading system, so you don't need any tools. Sometimes you forget one and you have no way of changing it until you get back home. I like the optics ready SIG AIR reflex sight mounting system. It's a big upgrade over the P226 platform. Of course, there's a few cons here. It does have the fixed sights that are non-adjustable, but you do have that red dot capability. So if you want to dial it in, you can do it that way. And generally speaking, CO2 guns like this are temperature and cadence sensitive. So rapid fire cools them down, and outside temperature makes a big difference. Plus, these guns are pushing a fair bit of CO2 because of the heavier lead pellets over steel BBs. So that's going to impact these guns a little bit. And because it has a rotary magazine, there's no last round hold open or slide lock back on this, because there's just no follower to tell the gun that that's what's going on. Rotary mags just don't have a way to do that, as far as I know. I haven't seen any that do. And you're going to have to be a little bit careful with your pellet choice. Some will fit better than others. Some will be a little tighter, a little looser. Some might be a little too long. Also, pellet weight will make a big difference in this gun. So make sure you play around with a few different pellet choices and find the one that works best in it for you. All right, that wraps up this review. Make sure to check out replicaairguns.com for articles, post reviews. I'll put additional photos and things like that over there. Possibly some more information I might have missed in this video. And of course, links to buy it, where you can buy it in Canada and the US. I believe at this point in time, at least, we only have this one in Canada, but we do have the 226 in the US. So you could buy that there. I'll put a link in to buy the 226 in the US versus Canada. But depending on when you're watching this video, we might have both in both stores anyways. Now, if you're interested in other products, air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, and other accessories, then check out replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, take care.